and we are going to be looking at topic ICT tools and application and teaching and learning. Um, this particular class actually focuses on how ICT tools shift us from traditional classroom instruction to interactive technology-mediated learning environment. So these tools are not just about using gadgets; they are about enhancing access, simulating engagement, and supporting different learning styles. And mm, when we talk about ICT tools, what are we actually looking at? We are looking at a wide range of hardware, software, and web-based platform used to design and deliver lessons, and also it provides access to audiences. And effective use actually requires not only technical knowledge but also pedagogical innovation. That is, the approaches and the methods you use to deliver your lessons, even as well as having technical knowledge and also institutional support. And as teachers, our institutions also have a lot to do in supporting the way we use ICT. So, and also in this lesson, we are also going to look at the LMS and multimedia technologies for digital content creation. Um, so, when we look at ICT, we have different categories of ICT in education, largely grouped into, let's say, five main parts. We'll look at the hardwares and hardware tools, which comprises of the computers, the projectors, tablets, interactive whiteboards, and smartphones. And when you look at this group of hardware tools, they majorly facilitate content delivery and learner interaction. And for example, when we look at the smartboard can be used for collaborative exercises in the classroom, while tablets, personal portable devices can be used for personalized learning. So the second category here is the software applications, which part of them have example of productivity tools. That's tools that enhance your productivity, such as word processors, talk about Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, spreadsheets, and PowerPoint, which is grouped under presentation tools. And we have SPSS, which support used for analysis, data analysis, and GeoGebra, which is geometric tool for is a problem solving geometric tools for teaching students how to use geometry. And we can see an example of Excel, which is used for data analysis, and PowerPoint for presentation. So we have web-based platforms which include learning management systems like Moodle, Google Classroom. We have the Blackboard. We have also web video conferencing tools like Zoom. Also have the YouTube where you can have educational content, watch educational content. So what this does, it enables or facilitates online communication, collaboration, and resource sharing. And these tools can help students and teachers to collaborate, maybe having virtual lessons, uh, having the assignments done virtually online, sharing resources, and also participating in discussion forums. And we have the multimedia tools, which comprise of audio visual materials, animation, podcasts, simulation. This category actually enhances visualization and retention. of course, when you consider, for example, when we look at multimedia tools, they are tools that comprises of more than one media for the delivery of lesson. Either, uh, um, for example, the television, which uh, comprises appeals to students of the oral and also the visual learners, and you have animations where you can combine sequence of pictures with voice, and of course a subtitle with some avatar cartoon characters in order to convey some lessons. So it's, you remember that whatever students see here, they retain. And so through video demonstrations and interactive animations, science concepts for people in sciences, you can explore the Colorado website to explore some visual animations, whereby it can help to explore. It helps to explore different science concepts or in any subject. And we have the emerging technology, which is currently where we are today, the time of AI, as we explore AI in different learning activities. We have the virtual reality, the augmented reality, and robotics. One of the functions of this is that it provides avenue for immersive and adaptive learning. Immersive learning, whereby you have this large language models whereby you can question in order to have deeper understanding of different concepts. And so you see that the AR, for example, can be used for anatomy visualization, and why of course we use the AI chatbots for tutoring and learning support. So when we look at the effectiveness of ICT tools, what actually makes these ICT tools effective? And of course, we effectiveness depends on how much you're able to meet the goal of your lesson. So let's not forget that effectiveness is rooted in there, how much you meet the goal of a lesson. So we have user friendliness. So any technology that must be effective must be user friendly, easy to navigate by both teachers and learners, and it must be accessible. We have the accessibility. It must be inclusive, adaptable to diverse learners' needs. Of course, we have different learners having different needs, some special needs, so it must be that adaptable to be able to meet both the visual learner, the kinesthetic learner, and so different kind of learners you have. We also have interactivity, promotes learner engagement and collaboration. That's one of the needs also. When we talk about multimedia, we see media that are created to meet multi-sensory needs, in learning. So another one is scalability. It can be used for, you make sure that the ICT tool can be used for in different contexts. They are usable in different contexts and all levels. So that, for example, if you get a computer, you can use computer for different subjects. So most effective tools are not hinged on a particular tool, except in cases of productivity softwares whereby they are for a specific task. So that's what scalability talks about. Then we'll talk about integration capability. We'll have the tools, their compatibility with existing software, be able to integrate them with existing software. There are some softwares that use third-party softwares or plugin, which when you are upgrading or when you are getting new tools, it can easily be integrated. For example, your smart boards can be integrated with different technologies for presentation and collaboration activities. Alright, then, so here we're going to talk about educational software and LMS platform. What is an LMS? An LMS is a digital platform that centralizes administration, documentation, tracking, and delivery of educational resources. So the core functions of this consist of course management. This course management area is where you're able to upload lessons, create lessons, assessments, and discussions. So we have a part where it talks about communication. In communication and collaboration tools, where we have forums, chats, and feedback. So the LMS is also able to track the learner's progress. That's tracking. You'll be able to know which learner is learning at what time and at what pace, and they have different performance metrics. So it's a full integrated system for managing content and delivering content to the learners. And you have different types of LMS platform, and every of these LMS platform have these key features. For example, have Module is an open source platform and used by many universities for blended learning purposes. We have the Google Classroom is cloud-based. It integrates seamlessly with Google Drive for assignment management. And many of you know about Google Drive. Google Drive is also a cloud-based storage whereby you can store materials, learning materials. So the Google Classroom has an integration with the Google Drive for assignment management and feedback sharing. And we have the Canvas, which support multimedia integration and has analytic dashboard for ideal for flipped classroom environment. That's classrooms where you could teach face-to-face and refer students to watch videos online at home. We also have the Blackboard. Two of them are also the learning management, which across Nigeria today is being used for teaching. And one of the key things is that it has what we call the analytics and reporting tools, which you can use to monitor the progress of your students anywhere. So we also have educational softwares. We have the Microsoft tool suite, which is for Word, for writing, typing of documents, formatting and printing of documents. We have the Excel for data entry and data analysis, and PowerPoint for presentations. We also have a category called subject-specific tools. These are tools that are used for a particular subject. We have GeoGebra for mathematics, especially for teaching geometry. We have a ChemSketch for chemistry. We have SPSS for data analysis. If you also consider the PhET simulation, is also for science subjects. So we have another category for authoring tools, that is for e-learning content, e-content creation, which for example have the Articulate 360, the Adobe Captivate for developing e-learning contents. Now many of these softwares have the free versions which you can download online and explore. We have the assessment tools for creating assessment, quizzes, and examination. Generally for creating computer-based assessments generally. We have the Kahoot, we have the quiz, we have the Multimedia for interactive quizzes and polling. And what a teacher can use Kahoot for formative assessment during live classes to increase participation. So on the Kahoot platform, you can create beautiful, appealing assessments with questions to engage and assess your students at the time of your lessons. So look at multimedia and interactive technologies. Okay, as we said before, we have the categories, we have the audio, visual, animation, and interactive media. The audio podcasts are mainly for auditory learner, but we also have under podcasts, we also have what we call the vodcast, which is the video version of podcasts. As we said before, multimedia interactive technologies combines text, images, audio, video, and animation to enhance multisensory learning. And of course, according to research, multimedia improves knowledge retention and engagement, according to Maya 2014. And when we look at the audio, we have the podcast, we have the voice notes or radio-based lessons for auditory learners. But while the visual talks about the infographic, diagrams, mind maps, and stuffs, we also have them bringing audio and visual. Is where we have the audio visual. We begin to see things like the vodcast, where you have the video audio representation of a podcast. We have the animation. The animation has to do with simulations, the ranging of sequence of pictures, avatar personas, in incorporating them with voiceovers and subtitles in order to explain complex processes in your teaching. It can be used in human anatomy and physics. When we have interactive media, where we have things like the digital storyboard, gamified learning, and virtual labs. Yes, a real world example is the PhET interactive simulations, which are widely used for science lessons and secondary schools, enhancing abstract concept visualization and supporting inclusive education through tools like text-to-speech for learners with disability. So you see the name there, PhET. You can Google that online and register as a teacher to explore the wide range of resources they have. Digital content development and open educational resources. What is digital content development? When we talk about digital content development, digital content includes ebooks, contents that are created. There are contents that are created digitally and can be shared electronically. So it contains ebooks, videos, infographics, interactive learning objects designed for digital delivery. And in order to develop such, we have 5 steps to follow. We look at identifying learning objectives. You must have your objectives. One primary thing you must always do is to create and develop, outline your objectives. So you're learning, anything you are doing, identify. And number 2, we have select ICT. You must select appropriate ICT tools which aligns with the identified learning objectives. 3, you must have design and develop multimedia resources. When you come to designing and developing, this is where you gather learning experiences, syllabus, curriculum, textbooks, research materials which you are going to put together as to develop media resources. This is where you do your storyboarding on the outline of flows of sequence which you need for developing that content. And number 4, you have to review and validate content for accuracy. So after designing, after gathering source contents and putting them together, maybe with PowerPoint or with any ICT tool you have chosen, you have to review them over again for typo, for animation inconsistency. For example, if you are doing a video editing, you should be able to go through to see if your sequencing, if the audios, the subtitles, wherever you are using them, are matching. So this, and if the contents used are adequate and accurate. Then the last step is to upload them on a learning management system or an open educational resource platform, an ORE platform. And ORE platform are simply platforms that are freely accessible, openly licensed, for hosting learning materials that can for anybody and everybody to use. So when we are developing e-contents or e-modules, if that's an objective, this guideline are to be followed in doing that. And to do that, you of course must be skilled with some of these technology too. As I said earlier on, you don't forget you can always search and download the free version of any of these softwares for your learning. So when we talk about open educational resources, OER, what are they? They are freely accessible open license learning materials that can be used, adapted, and shared. Some of them are text-based, is the ebook lecture notes. Some of them are media-based, which talk about videos, podcasts, etc. And some of them are courseware in the sense that they are courses developed by maybe universities, personal development, which are hosted on which consist of the massive open online courses, the MOOCs, and open courseware of which can be developed and uploaded to be shared freely. And we have some of this platform where you can find some of these resources or developers of such resources. We have the ORE Commons, we have the OpenLearn, we have the MIT Open Courseware, and the UNESCO OER Hub. So one of the benefits of OER is that it reduces cost of education or educational production, because they are free, because these materials can be reused. Teachers can easily explore this platform to download free courses, free materials that they can use to enhance their own knowledge or their own teaching. But mind you, there are licensing and ethical behaviors surrounding this, which you need to be acquainted with before using them. For example, the Creative Commons, the one that oversees the open licensing on how these materials are used, and as consigned, you are to abide by those ethics. So we're looking at virtual classrooms. When we talk about virtual classrooms, we are talking about teaching beyond the physical classroom walls. And virtual classroom represent physical teaching spaces in an online environment through synchronous, which is real-time, synchronous or asynchronous communication, offering geographical flexibility and instant interaction. So when you talk about synchronous, you're talking about to and fro, lesson happening real time. For example, if we host a Zoom meeting real time and everybody's connected, that is synchronous. And asynchronous is probably I have a recorded video just as I'm recording now and you're going to watch later. That's asynchronous. We are not going to be having a real-time discussion. That's why you watch and discuss in the comment section. So some of the key features of virtual classrooms, we have live video conferencing, which can be done using some of our web-based platform, as we've discussed, the Zoom or the Microsoft Team or the Google Meet. As you see, we have screen sharing and breakout rooms. The screen sharing is where I can share my screen for the live class and you can see the content which I am using. We have the chat, the pool, and some collaborative whiteboards. Collaborative whiteboards is a simulation of interactive whiteboards where you can write in a virtual classroom. What are the advantages of this? We have geographic flexibility. That is, distance is not a barrier. At any time, we can be able to connect together and have our classes, no matter anywhere you find yourself. We have instant feedback and interaction. That's when we're having synchronous learning, and we also have recording for revision and accessibility. Some of these platforms, especially paid ones, have ability to record, where you could watch the videos later for revisions. So a practical example is conducting project-based seminar via Zoom with screenshot sharing, presentations, and chat-based discussion, enabling real-time interaction regardless of location. So I want you at the comment section to tell me what you think. What are the more advantages of virtual classrooms? And I want to know which of you have explored this option in your teaching or learning. Okay, we are looking at another concept called mobile learning. And generally, what is mobile learning? Mobile learning involves the use of portable devices, smartphones, and tablets for educational purposes, enabling anytime, anywhere access to learning. It supports micro-learning, on-demand access, and self-directed learning. This is one of the things I do a lot when I'm traveling, anywhere I am, engaging with my students. And this can be done and made possible through our mobile phone. And example, we have what we call the Duolingo. Learning is one of the mobile learning apps which you could use to learn through gamified bit-sized lesson. Gamified, from the concept of gamification, is using game-like elements in a non-game context. The non-game context is the teaching learning context, which you are involving the game elements in order to make learning experiences better. We have the Quizlet, which has a kind of study flashcard for self-testing for examination preparation. We have the Google Classroom, which is a part of Elements, which you can use to do assignments and have feedbacks on the go. So all these platforms can be accessed on your mobile phone. We have the WhatsApp and the Telegram for group discussions, learning, just as we use our WhatsApp to interact. Mobile learning gained momentum from Nigeria, especially during the COVID-19, where schools were shut down, and things like Telegram and WhatsApp group became the only option for sustaining learning and for continuous learning. So we have been able to touch so in this lesson, ICT tools, we will be able to touch different aspects and see how the ICT tools is changing the teaching and learning landscape. ICT tools revolutionize how teaching and learning occur by providing three things: dynamic, interactive, and inclusive environments. And they enable teachers to design personalized, engaging lessons while empowering learners with autonomy. There's owning your own learning and collaborating opportunities where you can engage with different people, group of people online. So these ICT tools also has helped help learners to help bring about what we call the learner generated networks, where it's done through collaborations, where learning can be between learners of different sorts at different time and space. So we'll be able to look at the LMS platform, multimedia, digital content and ORE, and virtual and mobile learning. So, and with this, we come to the end of the lesson. I encourage each and every one of you to, down in the cases section, tell me and explain how ICT2 has provided dynamism in your learning, how it has also enhanced your interactivity and inclusion. So let's have our discussion on these three things: dynamism, interactivity, and inclusion of ICT learning. Thank you till we meet in our next class. Bye.